Welcome to Cabral House Call. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor, and today I'm taking your questions on a Friday Best of the Best review. So in our Best of the Best last episode, I went over my favorite productivity app that I've been using for years now, and it's at the grand price of free. So I definitely recommend checking that out. I use it for both my own personal life, keeping track of my own life, as well as my work as well. The other thing I recommended or gave a nice little review on was a product called Chyawanprash. If you've never heard about that before, it is an ancient Ayurvedic rejuvenating based product. Highly recommend checking it out. And the last one is the at-home chin-up bar that I use that's very inexpensive to use. And I also told you exactly how you can go from basically doing 0 pull-ups or chin-ups to being able to do those with a little bit of band assistance. So inexpensive, great things to check out and implement in your own life. All right, let's get into our first question of the day. So our first question is from Cassie B. Cassie is asking, do you recommend energy gel packs for marathons or for other long exercise hikes? Okay, so good question. Usually I like to put these on a training Thursday, but it is a product. What we're reviewing are things called like goos or gel packs or other items like this. You'll see them like Hammer Strength. There's just a hammer. There's a bunch of different companies that make them. And if you don't know what I'm really talking about, well, a lot of marathoners or triathletes use these little packs that you can rip open and you squeeze this gel or goo into your mouth. And it's typically loaded with sometimes minerals like calcium or sodium or potassium or magnesium. A lot of times it's just sugar-based, and it oftentimes contains caffeine as well. And you might say, well, why is anyone using these? Well, you're using them because your body's going to start to crash. It's going to start to go low blood sugar and need some sugar. So that makes sense. And caffeine has been shown to not only boost performance, but also improve the uptake of sugar into your cells and into your body. So you say, okay, well, all of this makes sense then. Here's the issue. With these gel packs and goos, and I've used them myself, what I found with too many people is that they lead to cramping. And one of the reasons they lead to cramping is that because they need to be consumed with a lot of water. And it's really hard to consume a lot of water and fluid while you're running. I mean, that's just the way it is. You're trying to swallow and run and not stop at all at the same time. Here's what I recommend. I actually recommend you pre-making some bottles if you're doing a triathlon or a hike that you keep with you, that are pre-made, the solution that you want. So some people like healthy Gatorade-based mixtures that have sodium, that have sugar in them, and a little bit of sweetness for that, to be able to consume. And then there's other people too who will add natural, like cold brew coffee. That's a nice little mixture that we'll use sometimes with athletes, with some sugar in there as well. And it could be just regular sugar, or it could organic sugar, or you can actually use something like a maple syrup or some honey in there. You can absolutely use those. I prefer not to use gel packs or goos. Now, if you've been using them for a while now and they've worked great for you, then obviously continue using them if you feel that that will work for you. There's just too much synthetic stuff in there and preservatives. Now, not in all of them, but in most of them. And I also just prefer to get it from an easy to digest source and not have that goo just sit in my stomach. I like it to be in liquid form. Plus, the other thing is, unless you're doing an event that's going to be longer than 90 minutes of hard work, you really don't need anything, because you can hydrate and fuel up before your actual start with some caffeine if you'd like, and a little bit of sugar-based solution. And then you don't need any of those products because it's already going to be in your body, moving through your gut and into your bloodstream. But, for triathletes, or even, for someone doing a, let's say, what would it be? Maybe like a 10K that would take that long. Then you could have a station as you're going along with a drink, or someone, if you have a friend watching you halfway through, could pass you a solution that you would be able to drink from there. So you can also attach one of the belts and just keep a little bit of the solution on your back as well. So there's so many different ways. So I think the long answer is that I'm trying to say I don't, and I'm not a huge fan of using the energy gels and goos. I think there's much easier ways just to do it through a solution, or even a chewable capsule where you can get your caffeine and sugar that way. So Cassie, hopefully that answers your question on that. Feel free to write in again if I didn't answer it how you wanted. All right, the next question is from Tim. Tim is asking, do you ever get tired of eating and living a healthy lifestyle? Okay. So In the beginning, I did used to. I wanted to have more cheat meals, and I had more cheat meals. I mean, that's the truth. I might have had 2 or 3, a week instead of maybe just 1, now. So, and the reason is this. It's just a journey. It's a little bit of a trial. It's getting your body used to eating these healthy foods, and it's getting your body used to having a balanced blood sugar and less inflammation. And you start to actually enjoy all of this healthy food. The reason, first, you start to enjoy it because you know it's good for you. So that's why you're doing it. And then your taste buds start to change a little bit. You're like, oh, I really like this. And then you start to eat those unhealthy foods, and you notice how it makes you a little bit more sluggish, how it might give you a little bit more brain fog. It might make you a little bit more tired. You wake up a little bit more stiff. And then you understand that you don't want those things because you feel too good to go back to that lifestyle. Tim, that is when you understand that you've made it, that your body has actually changed. You are a much healthier individual at that point. So it kind of depends on where you're at in your life and how many months and years you've put into it. So just remember, you don't have to get it right. You don't have to get it perfect in the beginning. You just have to get moving in that direction of a healthy lifestyle. And I can tell you, when I was 18 years old and going gluten-free before gluten-free was even a popular thing, and I was out with friends and I would get, like chicken tenders, something like that on a Friday night, I was like peeling the breading off. It was kind of gross. It was, disturbing for all those I'm sure around me, but I was committed to doing it. And I had my why. My why was because I was a really sick individual at that point, and I was trying to get better, and so that's why I was doing that particular thing. But no, it wasn't easy, and I was tired of it back then, but I knew what I had to do, and of course I slipped up. Now, I just feel better than I ever have, and I don't want to let go of that. So I think you'll get there, Tim. The next question is from Paul54. Paul54 is asking, is honey okay to eat, or is it too high in sugar? Okay, well, this is an excellent question, and it's probably because it's a little bit mixed, right? Like, we've been told honey's good for us and natural, and so maybe we should be consuming it. Well, let me go back a little bit. It depends on the type of honey that we're talking about. Raw honey is absolutely good for you, but who is it good for? Well, it's good and best for those people who may not have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth right now, may not have candida yeast-based overgrowth, because honey can be a prebiotic and it can feed all bacteria, all things that are growing in our gut. So I actually recommend that it's better to wait until you've cleaned out your gut and then start adding honey back in when you start using the good probiotics. And then, of course, you can keep it in your diet. Now, which type of honey should you use? Well, you only want to use raw honey. And ideally, you would like to use raw local honey so that you get the pollen and you get all the good stuff that's, within basically your state at least. Most Whole Foods or most natural grocers will carry a local raw honey. Absolutely and definitely go for that. You don't want the ones that have been really purified. You want the ones that are kind of dark. Wildflower honey is typically darker, and you might even see stuff floating around in it. That's actually what you want. You want very natural honey. You don't want the processed ones. You don't want the cooked ones. You only want raw honey. Now, yes, it is high in sugar. So look at it this way. Every tablespoon of honey contains about 17 grams of sugar. All right, and it doesn't contain any fiber, so it's not going to slow down that sugar spike. So what would I say? Well, I don't think you need to eat a tablespoon of honey. Why not go with 1 teaspoon of honey? It's very, very sweet. It's very enjoyable to eat, or even put on maybe a little bit of organic oats or a smoothie or whatever you might be adding it to. Or you might be just consuming it with a little apple cider vinegar and water, or just when you wake up. So I'm not telling you how to consume it, but I will say is if you just do 1 teaspoon, you'll still get a lot of benefits, and you could do that twice a day if you wanted to. And you're only getting about 6 grams of sugar. Remember, every teaspoon of sugar in general, or sugar-based substance, is about 5 or 6 grams. That's not going to be enough really to affect your blood sugar levels, even for diabetics, believe it or not. If you are diabetic, of course, you'll want to test that with a glucometer. You never want to just leave it to chance. But for most people, under that 8 grams of sugar is not going to do a lot to affect blood sugar, especially if you're having it with something else that does contain fiber. So, Paul, hopefully that answers your question of if it's too high in sugar and when to eat it. And when to eat it is when you have a nice, healthy gut, and you'll be able to use that honey as a prebiotic to actually build up even better gut function. And of course, there's lots of minerals and lots of great immunity boost functions that go along with honey itself. So I hope that answered all of those questions today. Love answering your questions. definitely keep them coming. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral House Call. Before you go, I wanted to make you aware that as a loyal listener to the Cabral Concept, I want to make sure I'm always providing with great real-world usable content and rewarding you with listener-only specials. So for the month of April, my goal is to help you involve more of your family and friends and even coworkers in their quest to lose weight and get well. And I believe there is no better way to do that than through the Dr. Cabral Detox. You lose 5 to 10 pounds in your first 7 days and improve your overall well-being, guaranteed. So this month, I'm going to take $20 off the 14 or 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox so that you can share the 14-day with one friend or family member and the 21-day with 2 friends or family members. It's more motivating to do the detox with someone else, and I know you'll both be happy you did. Come join our Dr. Cabral Detox community and change your body, change your life. To take your $20 off, just enter the promo code APRIL20, all lowercase, at checkout.